know. I don't know what's going on here, but you look gorgeous. Pete, can you see anything? I can't see anything.
I've just got black.
All right, we're gonna stop this.
Internet Dads After Dark. Oh, there you are.
Look, this video is supposed to be transparent.
Well, those trans things never know what in the crap's going on with us.
Oh my gosh. Hold on. Now this is just
Supposed to be one thing and it's something else. See?
No, this isn't us. This is Rumble. Rumble messed up our theme song. They messed up our intro and our theme song, and you guys didn't get to see American Pirates. Oh my God.
That looks
I was like,
that
what is
looks
the
like-
most American pirate I think it could think of? And I was like, how about Chuck Norris as a pirate?
I started to say that. I was going to say that looks like Chuck Norris's fat brother, Jeff Norris, who used to work out with Chuck quite a bit, but he's kind of gotten older and
fat.
He's not fat.
No,
but
sir. That is a barrel-chested man right there. That's an American man.
Look at his face. It looks like Jeff Norris.
When you get older, you get a little bit of like, I mean, Chuck Norris is like 80, so, and he'd still whoop both our ass.
Dude, I watched a thing on Chuck Norris the other day because it popped up. Welcome to the Internet Dad Show, by the way. This is what we do. We just talk about random crap. It really should have been a phone call. I watched this thing the other day on Chuck Norris, and they were talking about they were interviewing all of these super famous and super like high up martial arts people throughout the years that knew Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris in his prime.
Okay.
And they were all like, Chuck Norris is the baddest guy ever on the planet. He would have destroyed Bruce Lee if they would have really fought in a fight. Like look, they're not just making the joke about it. They were all like, look, y'all don't understand how awesome of a fighter Chuck Norris really was and is. Like
I don't understand
about it, but I'll have to find that. I think I saved it. I'll have to find it and show it to you because it was really eye-opening because we always make these jokes about Chuck Norris, Walker, Texas Ranger, and we all know he's a martial artist and whatnot, but he was like one of the baddest martial artists to ever martial art.
I would love to, if you could find that, dig up that clip before we're done here.
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
JJ, why are we talking about pirates as Chuck Norris? Well, I'll tell you why, sir. After I make sure our names are on screen. Look at that. Look, Jason says things. Okay. So I saw this story this morning and I was like, oh my God, this is hilarious. Now, you as a student of history, I know for sure are aware that during the colonial era and the early American government, we had pirates in the Caribbean. We literally had pirates in the Caribbean, and
pirates are responsible for a lot of things, including, they did a lot of slavery. The pirates did.
Yeah, no good. No bueno.
But one of the things that the pirates are responsible for is why Americans don't use the metric system.
Oh, really?
Right? Yeah, it's a really interesting story that goes, they were trying to get it, but they don't. And America still uses the, an inch is about your thumb, a foot is about your foot.
Yeah. Okay. So during the Revolution, we had problems with, English, Buccaneers or whatever they were coming over here and hassling us while we're trying to like become independent from England.
Yeah.
And so the early American Congress passed letters of marque.
Yeah, let me just paint a picture real quick for people that don't quite understand. Imagine a map of the eastern United States, Maine, all the way down to Florida, okay? Yeah. And then you've got all the little islands, and then you're going down into South America and all that, down in Brazil and the outskirts of South America. So that's where everybody came in. That's where the main ports were, right there.
Right.
And so all the pirates would be from Maine all the way, because we like to think of Jamaican and the pirates,
that's the warm, sunshiny,
those pirates went all the way up to Maine. All the way up.
Yeah. And they were like, we got the bad pirate jobs. It's
they got the
You can't swim in the Atlantic. It's freezing.
Doug get to go to Florida.
I signed on to this because my cousin said it was a sweet gig. He gets a parrot. He gets to go swim with dolphins. I'm up here with these crabs. Do you know how many times I have almost been had my man stuff snapped by a crab? Come on. This job sucks. All right. So my point is that
we have a point.
Yeah, we have a point. Congress has the authority and leveraged it to create letters of marque to allow pirates to hunt down our enemies, and it was legal. Like we would be like, oh, hey, pirate, listen, stop stealing stuff from people, and instead take your boat and your guns, and you get to go shoot these people for free, and you can take their stuff if you find.
And we'll pay you.
We'll pay you. Here's a letter of marque. It was because we couldn't afford a navy, right? Or like we needed to leverage these assets. So legally, we can hire pirates to just go mess stuff up on our behalf. Well, check this out, Deke. This is the best story I saw this morning. I saw a couple others, but I saw this and I was like, all right. Senator Mike Lee, the Constitution empowers Congress to tap American pirates to fight cartels. So we have a senator that's like, why don't we just let pirates?
Yeah, pirates.
Yeah, just let them do whatever they want. Americans, which means like if you used to work for the federal government and you had a job up until like Monday, but now you find yourself gainfully unemployed and you need a gig.
Let's say you worked as the assistant director for the study of sign language on amphibians, and now you don't have a job this week.
suddenly found your job prospects minimized. Well, there's a new career path for you, sir. Americans could soon hold letters of marque from President Donald Trump. This is so amazing. That empowering them to attack violent gangs and drug cartels in pirate ships and by the border if Senator Mike Lee can persuade Congress to grant letters of marque and reprisal.
Dude,
the Constitution. Okay, go ahead.
In 1995, all right, when we're seniors in high school, and I was to come up to you and say, dude, in 30 years, Donald Trump's going to be president. Everybody's going to love him. Yeah. It's going to be called the Gulf of America. We're going to want to turn Canada and Greenland into states. And we've got legal pirates going on.
We live in the best timeline. This is, dude. You cannot possibly believe that there are other timelines in this one. This one is the best. This is the best.
I don't know. In the timeline adjacent to us, we have pirates, but Trump has also approved ninjas. So we have ninjas and pirates in that adjacent timeline.
We're only like 3 weeks into this thing. You still might get ninjas.
Still might get ninjas.
The Constitution authorizes Congress in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 to grant letters of marque and reprisal, as Lee set forth in his plan on the Alex Marlow show, sandwiched between congressional powers to declare war and to make rules for capturing Americans' enemies. Congress can grant such letters, which would be signed by the president, who presumably would also include whatever regulations, and who cares about regulations? You are legal pirates. As Marlow opened the discussion with Lee, he noted that letters of marque would be a really creative tool that could weaken the drug cartels. The drug cartels for the last year have been like, if Donald Trump gets into office, we're going to have to deal with maybe him authorizing military force. And then we at least have the Mexican army to say that sovereignty and to keep the United States out. So, we got some things we can juggle. We can manipulate some things. And out of left field comes Mike Lee with like, we could just do pirates and they could just whatever.
So we've been joking about it, but obviously what he's wanting to do is enact this old law that could potentially allow government approved third parties to have You know, it's basically like what are those guys? What are those guys called that operate over there in the Middle
Oh,
East?
private contractors.
Private contractors. It opens it up for private contractors to have a navy. So not
Oh yeah.
only will private contractors, which they probably already do, but private contractors have an army, but they also probably have an air force and a navy.
Right. Or
But this would
drones. They for
allow
sure have armed drones, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And this would allow for private contractors to keep these drug cartels from coming into Florida, Louisiana, Texas, all the way up the East Coast.
Well,
It would offer another layer of security for America from not only drug cartel, but anything else that could potentially happen.
I've been trying to figure out like how do you make this profitable? Because like, you know, back in the like whatever hundreds of years ago, if you like were a pirate and you for real like attacked another boat, you know, there'd be booty on there that you could take. There'd be valuables, there'd be food, probably slaves. You would sell people for slaves or whatever. You maybe capture a new ship. Okay. So you got some material gains out of this. The expense at which a modern pirate like crew would be running would be, you know, in the millions of dollars. So, and as far as I know, the chief asset of cartels are dope and human trafficking, neither of which are things that you can like flip on the open market. So, how do we make this? How do we make
where does that go?
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand stopping human trafficking and stopping drugs, but like
that opens a very interesting question that's been talked about from the Middle East with these private.
Let us know what you think if you're hanging out, and we got a couple folks here. If you're hanging out, leave a message in the chat and let us know how could you turn a profit as a pirate.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, that opens up another postulation. And sometimes you hear these stories coming from the Middle East in the past 20, 25 years. And it's, do these private organizations, are they also in the drug dealing game? You know?
Right. Well, we don't want that. That is not what we,
so I mean, I'm just trying to be logical here. I'm just trying to be logical. If logically there was, if I'm writing a story, this is how I look at everything because I'm a storyteller. If I'm writing a story and I have got this private military organization that's funded by the government in this land to do this, and they're specifically here to stop this thing because we got to get around some red tape and stuff like that. So we got them down there doing this. And these guys discover 10 kilos of cocaine. All right.
Right. Yeah.
Am I going to have the guys in the story go, all right, guys, high five. Let's burn all this stuff because we're good people. Or am I going to have the guys in the story go, dude, do you know how much money we could make off of this? Blah, 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 blah. No.
Well,
let's say that we found 4 kilos. And then, you know, that's what I'm going to do in the story.
Right. Well, I mean, I can see, I can see perhaps the government say, like having provisions for the pirates, be like, if you guys discover drugs, call in the DEA, turn it over, and you get like a reward. So you get like a flat fee or something like that, and that way we can clean the coke off the market.
What was that called?
Do Good says if he was a pirate, he'd sail the Gulf of Mexico. Nobody will find me there anymore.
Wasn't that called privateering?
But I think I get the joke you're making. Yeah. Privateering, yeah, privateering.
Yeah, pirates were privateers.
Dave, how do you feel about this from your not very well described perspective about taking border patrol and outsourcing it to
private companies, so third parties?
Yeah,
people do it all the time.
I mean, like black. I mean,
I know. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying now.
Yeah,
people do it all the time. I mean, what would be the difference of having a confidential human source
Well, I guess it's the empowerment. It's the empowerment of the use of force, right? Because the letters of marque grant the use of force, which is otherwise completely restricted to government. Like, people can't just go shoot people. But,
Right.
With the letters of marque, now you have a private corporation that totally can just go shoot certain people. Not everybody, but they can shoot cartel people for sure, for instance.
Do the Pinkertons still exist?
I think so.
Not sure.
No, I think they do. I looked that up not too long ago because of the Billy the Kid story that me and JJ I want to make a comic book with JJ about, but I was looking that up and I think they still exist, the Pinkertons to this day.
They do. Founded in 1850.
Now, does a pirate ship have to be on the water? I mean, it could it's patrolling our borders, but does it have to be like?
I would guess that they would have provisions that would state that it had to be. I mean, I wouldn't want to sail up and down the Mississippi River in the freaking Ohio and have to worry about, pirate ships and stuff like that. I go out on the Ohio, we go out on the Kentucky Lake, and I don't have to worry about a pirate ship coming up and seizing my freaking Cokes and peanut butter crackers.
You think you can get your F-150 lifted and refitted so that your F-150 is, sort of a pirate ship that you drive along the border? You think that you're allowed to do that?
Maybe, but I drive a little Ford Focus and it needs a new fuel pump, so I don't know how well that'll go.
All right. Let's see. Let me see what else it says here. Imagine while a bands of American cowboys with shotguns, AR-15s, and pistols are patrolling the U.S.-Mexican border.
Why are we looking at shirtless freaking Chuck Norris? Please get that off the screen.
You can tell that's AI because he doesn't have enough hair.
That doesn't look very much like Chuck, but that looks pretty good. That's pretty good, Chuck.
Chuck on a battleship. It's like a share video here.
This idea was so hilarious to me. And by the way, can I just say, guys, if you're not on X, if you're on X, hey, follow me. Jason Says Things on X. Grok is amazing. Like it still doesn't have the best image generation, but the tools of Grok are so awesome. You can summarize information, like all kinds of real information, but also, and you can't see it here, like you generate some image and you're like, that's not exactly what I wanted. There's now an edit with Grok button and it takes the one image and you're like, hey, fix this one thing, and it'll go fix that one thing. It's not as sophisticated, say, as some of the
other ones where you can I was looking for Grok to where I could upload an image and say, use this as an example and draw something based on this, but draw it in this style. And I can do that now. How to do that. Oh, okay.
You can do that now. Yeah. And some of these capabilities are like brand new.
On the same hand, I mean, we've been talking about AI here. We've been using it for years and years and preaching about it, but Chat GPT over the years has developed so many new different extensions and things and that you can do with it,
agents and stuff. Yeah,
it's really like helping me out with the stuff that I do for it.
It's a great research assistant for me.
Mm-hmm.
I use mostly I use GitHub Copilot with there's you can choose Chat GPT 4 or you can choose I can't remember something Claude 3.5, or you can use the O1 or O3 models, the O3 reasoning model. So I use O3 mini. It's good. It's good. So I mean, as far as tools go, some of the AI tools are really moving along.
And I'm not having as much confusion as I've had in the past couple of years with AI. I don't get as much confusion anymore with the responses. I still get some crazy responses sometimes, but if I just go back and I look at what I said and I just add a period and change the run-on sentence to 2 sentences or something like that, it figures it out and it does.
So one of the things that I do is I every once in a while I make the AI tell me what I'm telling it to do, and I make it summarize it. And then I put that into a project document. I'm like, tell me what the objectives that we're hitting here. And then when I give it a prompt, I make sure to feed it the prompt document, and so that it has a clear
knows what
understanding.
we've been doing.
Yeah, I do that.
That's brilliant, because I've been having to go back and go, remember, we said this and this.
So like this project I'm working on at my office, I have a front end and a back end of a web app, and the front end does certain things and the back end does a lot more things. And then there's entry points and stuff like that. And it can get really complicated. So I go through and I'm like, AI, tell me, describe to me this project, summarize what it does, what each one of these things do, and put it into a README file. And then when I start a fresh instance, because I want it to kind of be loose of all of its memory and the baggage of whatever, I read in that file, and that gives it a better idea of the framework of and it still have to clean things up. It's not a perfect process, but it's better. I got a couple border stories here besides cartel stuff. Apparently, and there's a dimension of this that I'm interested in. So now none of us are Catholic, right? You're not Catholic.
No, we're all part of one Catholic church, meaning universal.
Yeah, you're using the tiny C, which means that you're saying you're not Catholic. Former the border czar Tom Homan. This guy is the epitome of like, I don't care what you say, I'm doing my job. Tom Homan told the Pope, Tom Homan, who is Catholic, by the way, he said, why don't you leave border enforcement to us and you go fix your church?
Does it have the clip here on this story?
It looks like I do. Yeah, we're going to get to that.
I want to hear it.
Border czar Tom Homan advised Pope Francis to focus on the Catholic Church after the Pope criticized the Trump administration's deportation of illegal aliens from the United States. When asked by a reporter Tuesday about the Pope's harsh words criticizing the administration, he said, Homan advised Pope Francis, why don't you fix the church and concentrate on his work? Here's the clip.
The Pope this morning had some very harsh words for the...
I got harsh words for the Pope. Pope wants to fix the Catholic Church. I'm saying this as a lifelong Catholic. I was baptized Catholic. I was First Communion as a Catholic. Confirmation as a Catholic. You ought to fix the Catholic Church and concentrate on his work and leave border enforcement to us. He wants to attack us for securing our border. He's got a wall around the Vatican, does he not? So he's got a wall around to protect his people and himself, but we can't have a wall around the United States. So I wish he'd stick to the Catholic Church and fix that and leave border enforcement to us.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Dang.
All right. Oh, hold on. There's more. So I'm thinking, like, why is the Pope so interested in illegal aliens being deported from the United States of America? Like, is it like you just have such huge charity for the poor and like it really breaks your heart? Is that what's going on? Or could it be this? The Biden immigration crisis was a boon for Catholic charities, which raked in billions of dollars in grant money.
That they did do.
Yeah. President Biden's border policies were a boon. Collectively, these associations received billions in grant money while helping house and resettle migrants, while a federal watchdog warned about mismanaged funds and potentials for fraud. The funding of these humanitarian programs came through the Department of Health and Human Services and Homeland Security, as well as the Federal Emergency Management Agency, has come under a renewed scrutiny by Trump and his administration, who seek to reverse years of financial incentives for the crisis of border crossings under their predecessor. Catholic Charities USA, comprised of 161 local member or agencies across the U.S., is one of the largest private recipients of government funding under several immigration-related programs that critics have said allowed the Biden administration to relocate and shelter migrants in the U.S. According to usaspending.gov, Catholic Charities branches across the U.S. collected $2 billion in federal grants over the last 4 years, primarily through the DHS, and they granted $1.93 billion.
According to what you just said, go up, scroll up just a little bit. Catholic Charities USA comprised of 168 local member agencies across the United States. So $2 billion divided by 168 is 11. Holy crap. 11, almost $12 million. $12 million a piece. Is that
Sounds
right?
right. Yeah.
Per agency.
$1,000 is to a millionaire what $1 million is to a billionaire. So it sounds right.
$12 million to each one of those agencies.
Wow.
168 agencies, local
Divided
member
by 2
agencies,
billion.
but divide that among 50. And you know they're not. Some of those states probably don't have an agency.
Good point. Some of the states are less. They have policies that are less.
We don't have individuals crossing illegally into Hawaii.
Right.
I could be wrong on that.
So a concentration of those are probably in the in blue states that were receiving money, in blue cities. So they're getting big money. Big money. So now
there's
it's
this theological thing that gets thrown up every Christmas that drives me a little bit crazy, and I'll tweak it for you all. But basically, it's been thrown in my face that Jesus was an immigrant when he went to Egypt, and no, he wasn't, because Egypt was still under Rome. It was still under the Roman government.
Yeah, that was like going
he
from
didn't go to
North
a different
Dakota
country.
to Texas.
Correct. So, yes, Jesus fled. I get that. And theologically, yes, Jesus is an immigrant from heaven. But the way it's twisted and tweaked, what the heck are your photos?
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's wacky. Wow. This is just the news.
I haven't seen that version of Star Wars.
This isn't even the worst. I saw an ad on Just the News the other day that was like singles over 50, and it was this gross fat woman. I was like, why? Why? Who is this? Why?
Why? Did y'all see the AI, the thumbnail from the AI clip I posted yesterday in News Drops?
I didn't see it. No.
All right.
Is it
Miss AI
for the show?
Yeah.
Hey, I've got something here for you guys. We've talked about this before.
All right.
Term limits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about term limits?
Man,
I think that my opinion is that any simple answer for sure will be leveraged and taken advantage of in some way. However, it does not serve the American interest to have certain people serving in Congress for 6 decades. That doesn't serve our American interest. So
this is a Democrat from Connecticut, Representative John Larson. He is 76 years old.
Don't worry, no one on the Republican side in the House and Senate who control both the House and Senate is going to speak up and challenge us.
what's he saying?
He's not. He's having a medical episode right now.
Oh, is he seriously?
But
Yes.
we need to
just pull back.
Americans' privacy and their social security.
Something's going on with him right now.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
He does pull back and get it going
For
again.
40%
Yeah.
of all
Stand
Americans,
there.
I know.
Social Security is the basis for their retirement and their retirement savings.
I mean, by this point, no one's
And,
even paying attention to the words that he's saying anymore, because
For
more
28
concerned with-
million Americans, Social Security is the only thing
Now he's coming back out
they
of it.
have. And that's why we have to make sure that we are protecting it as well.
You know, the average age of the people that created our country, the founding fathers, was 25.
No, that's wrong.
That's wrong.
It's not.
That is
No.
a
40
wrong meme that
42.
went around that everybody started believing. I
Oh,
mean,
how old were they?
there was
How old
like
were they?
3 of them that were below.
Yeah, they were
30.
averaged in their 40s.
Yeah, they were
okay.
all in their 40s and 50s. That's one of those, when that started going around, I was like, when I first saw that,
Yeah,
I was like,
Embarrassing.
yeah, I was
Making a
like,
mistake like
I
that.
didn't know that. And then I was like, I don't think that's right. And so I started looking and I was like, that's not right. There was like one guy, the youngest guy was like in his early 20s.
35, 37 is the average age. I'm not looking this up right now, just so you know. It's the average age that a law enforcement officer dies by suicide today. So you think about so the realm that I walk in, right? You've got the average age of the individuals starting up the country is the average age of where people are breaking today. And I'm just like, wow. I might double check those ages now. This reminds me, like back in the 80s, I don't know if you all remember this or not. There was this famous magician, Cooper.
Hold on. Wait, pause. You're not wrong. The average age is 44 because 44, okay. Benjamin Franklin was 70.
Yeah, he was the oldest.
Yeah. But however,
but he got some stuff done.
Yeah, but however, look at here. James Monroe, 18. Aaron Burr, 20. Hamilton, 21. James Madison, 25. Thomas Jefferson, 33. These are the people that are the most influential in the actual writing of the Federalist Papers and the establishment of the structure of the Constitution.
So the Federalist Papers were Hamilton, Monroe, or Hamilton, Madison, and was it Monroe the third one? There were only three.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, these guys were young. And this was the intellectual framework.
Okay, so wait a minute, hang on. You have to realize that a 21 and a 25-year-old in the 1700s is the equivalent of a 30-year-old in our time. These kids were doing farm work and had more responsibilities at 10 years old than most of our late 20-year-olds do in our society today. They were very more mature. They were a lot wiser than we are for their ages. And I'm not trying to justify anything here, but that's not all of them. That just says some notable ones.
Yeah, but those two of those are writers of the Federalist Papers. John Jay was 30. So all of the Federalist Papers authors were under 31 years old. Yeah. So okay. So back to my point is that our system was founded with youth and vigor and energy, and now it is run by Depends and Viagra and retirement funds.
So like back in the 80s, there was this magician named Cooper, who's a British guy. He's kind of a comedian, magician. He dies on stage. People think it's a joke. He collapses and has a heart attack, massive heart attack, and dies on stage. Yeah. The video's still out there. You can go find it, I'm sure, and just listen to it. People are laughing. And is that what it's going to take for America to wake up? A politician dying in Congress on the Senate floor to say, hey, you know what? Maybe we should do some limits, or maybe I'm not getting into the ageism discussion, but maybe there is a top end or an acuity test that you have to pass.
How about why don't we put age limits in there? Sure, you get more intelligent.
There's one on the other side. We can't be a president at 30 years old.
70 years old, you don't have to worry about the world your children are growing up in. Your children are already adults. Right. So I mean, maybe age limits for sure makes sense. Term limits in some circumstances, I very much would be in favor of term limits if they were well crafted, like with a real purpose. One of the things that you lose when you impose just arbitrary term limits is the ability of the people who are going to represent you going to Congress having a wide skill set of how to navigate Congress and bills and all of that, right, and how to use the rules. So that is a trade-off. Whenever you're
had a local official running, and they sent out their flyer and they said, hey, in the last X number of years, I've done this, 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 and this. This is what I'm currently working on. And if I get elected again, this is what I'm working on. Stop. That was it. And I'm like, this is my favorite thing I've ever seen, because it was very transparent. The individual is a Vietnam vet, which kind of gives you a little bit of clue on the age. There were individuals that were younger than him running against him, and they were like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm like, you might do that, maybe, but look, this is the track record that I actually can look at and see. And so some people are just really attracted to track records. I don't know. Was that Larson, John Larson, Connecticut dude? I think it was Connecticut.
Yeah, Connecticut.
I don't know what Connecticut's makeup is. I don't know what his track record is. He was in there since 99, if I remember correctly. Because I saw this the other day and I looked at it.
I think Connecticut is the most expensive state to live in, and it is the one most frequently moved out
more
of.
expensive than California?
I think so. I don't know where I saw this recently. It may not be the highest, but it is when I was watching information about migration into and out of states. That is, people move into states and then what's the turnover before they leave again. And those that move to Connecticut are the most quickly will leave that state again because the or whatever the I don't know if it's cost of living or some other factors.
You can always move to Kentucky. We have the next presidential candidate as our governor.
Next Democratic
for the Democratic Party.
Yeah, for the Democratic Party.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure.
He's already being groomed. There's Kentucky people that are mad right now that I follow on Twitter that are mad because he's been speaking at the World Economic Forum, and they're like, "Why the hell are you going over there?" How is that? Is our Kentucky taxpayer dollars being spent to send you to the World Economic Forum? I mean, this is what these people on Twitter are mad about.
X. Can't say Twitter.
X.
Yeah, get with it, man. Get with it, man.
Glad that people are finally stopped saying X, formerly known as Twitter. We're just saying X. Good.
All right, I got one more. I got one more story. This is a good news story. And and it may give us a window into the future. It's true, but that's not the story. Donald Trump welcomes back a teacher released by Russia. Yeah. This man here is Mark Fogel. He was sentenced to 14 years in prison in Russia.
Oh my God, JJ, 14 years. What did he do?
He had some medical prescribed cannabis that he had in his bag, I guess. I don't know.
That son of a bitch. Throw him under the jail.
Yeah. He said,
didn't we let out a black girl guy for the same thing?
That was them. Russia let that go, but we had to turn over a Russian arms dealer.
Oh,
so we turned over a Russian arms dealer. They let us have a trans basketball player.
Arms dealer, marijuana user.
Okay.
I wasn't even making a joke, but just saying.
No, you're not even making a joke. We traded an arms dealer for a trans basketball player.
Yeah. The Kremlin had no comment, but said on Wednesday that a Russian citizen was being freed from the U.S. as part of the deal, and we're doing a prisoner swap. Trump, standing alongside Mr. Fogel, said, "To me, he looks damn good." He told reporters the release was a show of good faith from Russians that it could be an important part of the ending the Russians' war in Ukraine. We were treated very nicely by Russia. Actually, I hope it's the beginning of a relationship that we can end the war and millions of people can stop being killed. That's all I want is people to stop being killed.
So who did they get in this prisoner release? Did they get anybody?
I don't know if it was named that the Russian prisoner, but Well,
I want to know.
Okay, all right, geez.
I mean, it was just like maybe some, arms dealer or somebody.
I'm not as swift to say, a trans athlete. I'm more like an American. But
Peskov said he would not name the Russian who was being released as part of the exchange until they returned home. So you're going to have to wait for the part 2 of this story. And you're also probably going to have to tune into Rusky News in order to find out. So that's for them to say. But first of all, how many years in Trump's got 3 years, 11 months left in Trump 2.0. How long into that will not only the Russian-Ukrainian war be ended, but also we have established normalized relations with Russia. And
well, have we had any
friends.
reports of anything being bombed over there recently in the last 2 or 3 weeks?
Nobody in America has paid any attention to the Russian-Ukraine war for for real for 2 years. Like, we stopped paying attention to this. They take our money. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, this is an important one. I know all of Pennsylvania, especially his family, will be welcoming him back with open arms. I'm going to leave the name out. I commend President Trump and Steve Witkoff for their efforts in finally bringing Mark home. Any guesses on who said that? Would you like a clue? It was Fetterman.
Fetterman's perhaps the only politician with a brain in the entire state of Pennsylvania.
And he walks around in Carhartts and sweatpants shorts.
Dude, I would too.
I don't know about you guys. We don't necessarily agree with him on policy positions, but he's the only one that can seemingly think in like common sense ways.
And he had a stroke.
Yeah. He seems to be mostly recovered from that. He does have to have like a teleprompter or a listening device or whatever to clear things up for him so that he can, because and apparently, one of the things is that like the words get jumbled when he's listening to them. So his personal audio processing is not tip top, but he can, like Google Translate, just transcribe to whatever people are saying. He can read it and he get the right message. And then he seems to be able to communicate
this guy
better than any other Democrat. Actually, he seems to be able to communicate better than any other Democrat.
He was arrested in 2021 and he was charged with large-scale drug smuggling in 2022.
Who, Fetterman?
Fogel.
No, Fogel. The
guy we just got back.
Oh, so he was a drug smuggler.
That's what he was charged with.
That's what he was charged with.
Oh.
You're not allowed to have dope in Russia. Not allowed.
Large scale. It said large scale. I'd like to know.
He could have had a 90-day supply with him.
Let's send him back. We can't have drug dealers. Let's send him back. No.
All right, I'm gonna have to get ready for my show coming up.
All right,
I'm
it's
sorry,
Wednesday. So let's in honor of today's show title. I don't know where my phone is. Let's do Chuck Norris jokes, guys.
I don't have a Chuck Norris joke.
Well,
everybody has a Chuck
Norris
joke.
Now you have. You can do it. Do you? I'll go first.
All right. You go first.
When Alexander Bell invented the telephone, he had 3 missed calls from Chuck Norris.
Oh, that's right. Did you know that ghosts sit around campfires and tell Chuck Norris stories?
Oh, really? That's good, actually.
Go, Dave.
All
right. So Chuck Norris recently had the idea to sell his pee as a canned beverage. They call it Red Bull.
Oh, my God.
Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He does earth downs.
Chuck Norris doesn't need a GPS.
Cure
he decides where he is.
Chuck Norris got a Big Mac at Burger King.
If paper beats rock, rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, what beats all 3 at the same time? Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
Oh yeah.
All right, it's my last one. Chuck Norris doesn't read books. He stares them down until he gets the information he wants.
Wait a minute, this is the best. I love this one. Chuck Norris can see John Cena.
I don't. Okay.
Politicians and talking heads lying left and right. You can help us bring facts into the light. Don't let your daughter lose her next swim meet to a psychopath dude with fake teeth.
Did you know that oxygen needs Chuck Norris to survive?
Hooray!
Arr, mighty.